Finbold has the report $1 billion asset manager shorts Trump stock day before assassination attempt. Oh me, oh my. Let me clarify this. The official statement now is $1 billion asset manager files their short paperwork one day before the assassination attempt. It doesn't change too much. It changes a little bit. But let me read this from Finbold. We talked about it last night, but we do have some updates. They write, along with inspiring former President Donald Trump to alter his Republican National Committee speech and judging by the results of the 1984 elections, creating the conditions for a proper red tide in November, the July 13th assassination attempt had a significant impact on the shares of Trump media. Indeed, the stock rapidly surged some 70% pre-market. Wow. On the first trading day following the attack. Although there has been a retracing since then, DJT stock remains higher, currently trading at $36.44 compared to its closing price of $31.25 last Friday. As it turned out, extensive stock market activity targeting DJT also preceded the assassination attempt. Austin Private Wealth, LLC, a financial planning company based in Texas, bought put options on as many as 12 million shares of DJT just one day before the attack. Now, hold on. Again, the clarification that we're hearing now, and I don't know how to confirm any of this, but this is what they're saying. The put options were actually held since June 30th, but the filing hits on the 12th. So they file on the 12th, and that's when it comes in. There are many people pointing out when the end of the month comes and we get the latest report on shorts, you may see that many, many more shorts were taken on DJT stock. We just don't know for sure. They say the short position taken by Austin Private Wealth on July 12th was also the largest among those listed, the second biggest being 1.677 million made by Citadel in May. While such a move otherwise may not be particularly suspicious, given that the rocky performance of Trump media makes it a reasonable target for short attempts, both the timing and the scale of the purchase make it stand out. Reportedly, the short position is the largest Austin Private Wealth has ever taken, and the trade represents 6% of total shares and over 16% of the float of the DJT stock. Even without the assassination attempt, the short position would have been interesting as it was open just days before the RNC was to take place. Given that Donald Trump was generally accepted as the Republican nominee, and given President Biden's recent debate and interview performance, it is probable DJT stock would have risen after the nomination was officially announced, even without the attack. Now, I do think it's important to point out, Finbold is not running this line that it was taken out on June 30th, like many on the left are. So I have to wonder what is true in this regards. You've got, this is Champagne Joshi. He says, while you are here, remember to give me a follow. Austin Private Wealth amended their filing on 7/16 and removed their put options on TMGT. Now that is fascinating. Another interesting thing about the amendment filed on 7/16 is that it is the only one they have ever had. I searched, and their first filing was on 2/12/2020. They say for decades, if not centuries, the U.S. has been troubled by conspiracies and theories arising from major political and economic events. Various catastrophes have been claimed. Let me just pause and say blah, blah, blah. We get it, dude. The 2001 attacks in particular have some common ground with the attempt, as we know that there were major put options on United Airlines and American Airlines. The July 13th assassination attempt particularly lends itself well to theorizing due to suspicious convergence of events, decisions, and statements. They say how U.S. politicians inadvertently fuel conspiracies. Biden's statement that Trump should be placed in a bullseye was threatening. Other U.S. politicians have also helped fan the flames. We know this. Finally, the fact the U.S. does have a history of government-organized political violence, such as the assassination of Fred Hampton of the Black Panther Party by the FBI, lends further credence to various conspiracy theories. Okay, well, we got an update here. First, let me show you the actual filing right here. This is fintel.io, which my understanding is considered to be a prominent website tracking financial data. Funds shorting Trump media and technology group. And you can see on 7/12, Austin Private Wealth, 12 million shares. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's your update. Matt Cora has the tweet. Statement on incorrect filing with the SEC. The SEC filing, which showed that Austin Private Wealth shorted a large number of shares of Trump Media and Technology Group, DJT, was incorrect. And we immediately amended it as soon as we learned of the error. No client of APW holds or has ever held a put on DJT in the quantity initially reported. The correct holding amount was 12 contracts or 1,200 shares, not 12 million shares, as was filed in error. In submitting the required report for the second quarter of 2024, a multiplier was applied by a third-party vendor that increased the number of shares by a multiple of 10,000 for all options contracts, not just DJT. We did not catch the error before approving the filing. We filed the report on July 12th to reflect our position on June 28th. We amended it on June 16th. We deeply regret this error and the concern it has caused, especially at such a fraught moment in our nation. We are committed to full transparency and maintaining the trust of our clients. As such, we are reviewing our internal procedures and our processes with the third-party vendors that assist with SEC filings to better understand how this happened and avoid similar issues moving forward. I got a question for you. What would have happened if Donald Trump actually did not survive that day? You think this company would be saying, oops, wrong filing? Does it mean they actually held the contracts? Man, I don't know. It really could be as simple as filing error. But isn't it just so weird? Donald Trump tilted his head. Let's line these pieces up. And I'm sorry to say, I don't buy it. I don't know, but I don't buy it. Let's line the pieces up. How about this? 3 hours before the shooting, a man is spotted with a rangefinder, and they identify him as suspicious. An hour before the shooting, they once again identify the man with a rangefinder, notifying that he is suspicious. That's law enforcement seeing it twice. 26 minutes before the shooting, law enforcement photographs him, saying, here's a guy with a rangefinder moving around and scouting out locations each and every step of the way. 10 minutes before the shooting, Secret Service identified this man not as suspicious, but as a threat. Donald Trump was then allowed to take the stage. Very, very abnormal. This man, 2 minutes out, is on a rooftop, the only rooftop in the area, or it's not fair. It's a large building structure, and there's some buildings, but externally, the only other vantage point. 2 minutes and 1 second. People are screaming. He's on the roof. He's got a gun. Donald Trump is not removed from the stage. Shots are fired, and only by Trump tilting his head forward does the bullet hit his ear and not the side of his head. Interesting. How could all of that have happened? How could the Secret Service have not had security on the rooftop? Secret Service claimed that it was actually local law enforcement that were supposed to be securing that rooftop. Local law enforcement says that's not true. We do traffic control. We had nothing to do with securing sniper vantage points. Multiple police officers confronted this guy. Not once did anyone pull Trump off that stage. So you mean to tell me, coincidence? Negligence? That's fractal wrongness. That's an impossibility. At any moment, they could have said, pull Trump off the stage. At any moment, before Trump went on the stage, they could have said, Mr. President, just wait here for a moment. You're going to be late a few minutes. And Trump would say, okay, whatever you guys want to do. To add on top of that, and these aren't the only weird things that happened that day, an incorrect filing for 12 million shares dropped the day before. Now, I can give you some scenarios as to how this happens, but I just got to say, with all of these conspiracies, more to say, with all of these coincidences, I'm supposed to chalk this one up as just another coincidence. The degree of coincidence emerging here is ad absurdum. How is a reasonable person supposed to conclude that all of these crazy accidents just happened? I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Some of them could have been accidents. I have no idea. But I can tell you this. There is a logical reason why a company would put 12 million shorts on DJT. Assuming they actually did. They say they didn't. So I would assume they didn't. I mean, I don't know how you just claim you didn't unless they're working dirty deals in the background. Why would someone short DJT stock on June 28th? Trump was supposed to be in prison. And if he's in prison, he can't post on Truth. I don't think it's a bad bet to make. I wouldn't make the bet myself. I wouldn't want to bet against Donald Trump like that. I actually hold I think I have 10 shares in DJT, more as it's fun to have. But there's some people probably only care about making money. And they're thinking, look, Donald Trump's going to go to prison. We all think so. His stock is going to go down, whatever his sentence may be. And if he can't post on Truth, Truth is worthless. Short. Or something else. You know, a lot of people do bring up 9/11 and the put options on United Airlines and American, and those have never been effectively answered. We do not know how that happened. So I wonder, how does all that happen? Well, bad news for those that put the short sale on DJT. Trump media stock price surges after assassination attempt, seen as boosting Donald Trump's reelection odds. Well, there you have it. Maybe the reason they said, whoopsie, we filed wrong, is because they realized they're about to lose a lot of money. But I don't believe that's true. I don't think you can cut a deal with put options and then after a price surge go, incorrect filing. It seems like all they really did was inform the SEC of their current position. That wouldn't change whatever they actually bought. If they actually bought 12 million and are claiming that was an incorrect filing, whoever made that deal is going to be like, no way, you owe me some money. Well, they certainly owe some money on 1,200, they claim. It's hard to know for sure. But I'm curious, I really, really am, how all of these things can line up so perfectly right before our very eyes. It doesn't make sense, does it? I wish we could see. I suppose we'll never really know. In entertaining the idea of conspiracy theories, I tell you this, the problem with conspiracy theories is you have to choose where you stop. And what I mean by that is that you can take a conspiracy to any direction you want. Let's talk about the moon landing. You can make up 1,000,001 conspiracies, and that's the problem. The people who've decided that the moon landing is fake because the U.S. was trying to upstage the Soviet Union have just opted for what they feel is logical. But you could make up 1,000,001 reasons why the U.S. faked the space race or whether they did or didn't. You could even argue the real conspiracy is we did go to the moon, and they put out a false conspiracy that we didn't because they need to create a degree of skepticism because of what they actually discovered on the moon, and they don't want people to have full reign of filing FOIAs. They want people to be distracted with this other story, so they chase the conspiracy in the wrong direction. Basically, they're baiting conspiracy theorists to the wrong story to cover up the real story, and that is they found aliens. You see, I'm kidding, right? But the idea is with this. The left right now is arguing that Donald Trump staged his own assassination attempt, that he's wearing he's got a gel pack in his hat. A blank is fired. He smacks the gel pack and falls down. They intentionally shoot and injure people in the crowd to prove it because they're evil, right? It's a conspiracy theory. It's evil. Actually, I got to point this out. The left doesn't seem to have any answers as to how people actually died that day. Like Corey Comprador lost his life. It's not funny. And several people were seriously injured. But the left seems to omit that fact when they're like, where'd the bullets go? That was one of the conspiracy threads they posted. Where'd the bullets go? I'm like, into innocent bystanders. Like, dude, chill. But the problem with conspiracy theories is that could the conspiracy, could it be true? Like, how is it the Secret Service allowed Donald Trump to go on stage? You could very easily argue Trump was in on it too. However, I don't think that makes any logical sense. So for me, the conspiracy theory just walks down the path of what is the most logical, and we stop where we can't come to conclusions. That is to say, the leftist conspiracy theory about Donald Trump being involved makes no sense because of the chaos that ensued and the lack of a proper explanation. If the conspiracy went all according to plan, they would have easily have had contingencies to explain how these things would have happened. Instead, they're like, the roof was sloped and none of that makes sense. Unless the idea was you want to scapegoat the Secret Service or something. No, none of that makes sense. They could have, if the idea was for Trump to fake an assassination attempt, they could have done something. They could have easily have had something lined up as to how it went down. So it's an absurdity. But I point out this. Thinking about the most extreme, deep level conspiracy. In the year 2008, Ron Paul leads the Love Revolution. And he gets all of these people, anti-establishment people, anti-government people. 9/11 was an inside job people. And they're all rallying against the government. And they're trying to vote for a populist candidate. And they say, worse, with the internet, these people are going to vote for populists. So what do? Donald Trump is selected among the elites to be the bad guy for the machine. Democrats and the Uniparty play the heel. Evil bad guys who keep fumbling and bumbling. Attacking Donald Trump, but Donald Trump keeps winning. And then you end up with, as I mentioned earlier in the live show, Luke Rudkowski and other libertarians in the Mises Caucus all now saying they will vote for Donald Trump. And a country that was concerned about unity and the American flag and its mission are now all of a sudden cheering for America, rallying behind Donald Trump, who overcame all the odds to defy the deep state machine. But what if that was the plan the whole time? That's the problem with conspiracies. So I certainly don't think that's true. And I think what we're looking at with the deep state attacks on Donald Trump is you can call it a conspiracy, but they're not theories. And that's the distinction. When you start theorizing and making guesses as to what you think really happened, that's what's going on now with the assassination attempt on Trump. That's when you get into weird territory. You can basically make up whatever you want. I'll put it this way. I think Trump derangement syndrome certainly exists. People have lost their minds. We have already seen evidence that prominent individuals want Trump to die, and that's terrifying. And lastly, we know that there are people in law enforcement who hate Donald Trump at the highest level in the federal government. These people have stated in previous stories that they fear they have to flee the country if Trump wins. Do you think these people would prefer not to do that? All of these things line up, and it is not a conspiracy theory. It is a simple hypothesis of who has motive and where we begin our investigations. The idea there's anything else beyond that is just speculative nonsense. And so in reality, you can call it divine intervention. You can call it plot armor, perhaps. I don't know. Donald Trump survived. I don't think he faked getting shot in the ear. That's stupid. I don't think he faked the blood or whatever. I think someone in an official capacity hates Donald Trump, and we can call it at the lightest a lehop. But let me tell you, let it happen on purpose. What I'm saying is, I don't want to speculate into conspiracy territory. I want to conclude only based on logic, the rudimentary hypothesis. You can argue that there were agents involved in it, that they pre-planned this, that this guy was MK Ultra, whatever it is you want. I'm not going there at all. I don't know. What I can tell you is there's no official story right now. This is a fact. There is no official story. They've not come out and said, after our investigation, we determined that this man was able to secure this for this reason, and it was an error. There's no official story right now. The logical conclusion is that there was someone in logistical capacity who was allowing this to happen, which then brings us back to how do you get lucky on making this massive short? Perhaps this was all just one big accident, too. A whole lot of accidents keep happening, don't they? Well, this will likely rally Donald Trump's base. As Frank once said, 1 to 2 points. We are likely looking at a major victory for Donald Trump in November, but more importantly, down ballot and at the local level. And I hope that's the case. You know, I was thinking to myself the other day, if it were a conspiracy to take out Donald Trump, there's just like Hillary Clinton in a room watching the rally live, and then she sees Trump grab his ear and fall down, and she sits up, and then Trump stands up and raises his fist, and she goes, "No! No!" I just think that's funny. Not that I think that actually happened. Calm down, YouTube. I think that would be a really funny bit, though. It's like she's sitting there sipping her tea and like watching the rally live with a smirk on her face. Nah! Like they failed again. They can't stop this man. Yeah, I don't know. Plot armor. Donald Trump's the main character, so he can't be stopped. If that were the case, man, I have no idea. But again, the only thing that really matters after all of this is not whether or not this company tried to short Trump. That's all. That's all water under the bridge at this point. No, I shouldn't say it like that. That's to imply that we ignore it. No, we should investigate and figure out what really went on. I'm just saying now they took a shot at. I'm going to say this figuratively because I know Media Matters and the left are going to lose their minds. Wait, does Media Matters even exist anymore? They took a shot at the king and they missed. That's the saying from The Wire. If you take a shot at the king, you can't miss. It's because the king's coming for you. You know what I mean? And I know they're going to be like, Tim's calling Trump the king. It's a figure of speech. Calm down, you lunatic. But you're not. There's no more opportunities. Donald Trump needs to shore up his defenses. He needs to bring Dan Bongino in as a security consultant to do an assessment on all of his security and all that stuff. Donald Trump needs to watch out for the food that he eats. This is the scariest thing. The scariest thing is whatever was supposed to happen on that day, they wanted to show. They wanted people to see. You know what's really interesting is the photo of the bullet you can see behind Trump's head. Someone asked this question. Why was the photographer using a high-speed frame rate that's fast enough to catch a bullet? Because it would have caught that moment? The argument is that these journalists were tipped off. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. You got to be careful on this stuff. But it's pretty wild. Some people have said that CNN was broadcasting the rally live. I don't know that that's true. Were they? I don't know. I don't watch CNN, so I wouldn't know. There's some rumors going around that major cable networks were broadcasting Trump's rally live for some reason right before it happened. I don't know that that's true. That doesn't make any sense. And I didn't see that myself. So it's hard for me to say. I couldn't tell you. But my friends, we'll wrap this one up here. And for those that are still watching live, we will read some more super chats, and then we'll come back. We got a couple more segments coming up throughout this next hour that I will read for you. But smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Head over to timcast.com, click join us, become a member. And we're going to be back live tonight with the live show with Mike Lindell at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. So we will we'll wrap up this segment for now. Follow me on X at Timcast, and we'll see you all in the next segment at 4 p.m.